We just simply babysat the property, babysat the mortgage payments, and allowed the seller to walk away and get on with his life. And having paid nothing for it, the first payday was 19,000. Let's show you another babysit. This is a chap called Bob, who was a taxi driver, and he'd hurt his foot so he couldn't work, and he'd fallen into arrears with his lender, who was GE Money. We was talking to him on Wednesday, and he was going to be repossessed on Thursday next week. So a week's time, the bailiffs were coming in. He was packing his boxes, ready to move into his sister's house. But he didn't like the idea of being repossessed for £1,800 arrears. But he had no choice. So we said, Bob, how would it make you feel if we could allow you some more time to pack your boxes and move into your sister's house when you're ready? We'll pay the £1,800 arrears and stop the repossession. We'll stop the bailiffs from coming next week, allow you some more time to stay in the property, and in the meantime we'll babysit the property for you, and we'll babysit your mortgage payments. We don't take over the mortgage, we just simply babysit the payments. Allow you to walk away and get on with your life, and we'll settle your mortgage for you by selling the property. So he was over the moon with that, because nobody had helped him in all the months that he was falling into arrears. So we did that using a single document to control the property, and then we found a buyer using vendor term agreement.
Ladies and gentlemen, today is Wednesday, and next Thursday the seller is getting repossessed. You know that you can pick the property for what is outstanding on the mortgage. There's a little bit of discount in there. How do we stop a repossession? Anyone would like to give me suggestions?
Pay the debt.
Pay the debt. Well, the debt is £125,000. Have you got £125,000 cash? No. So, can you get a mortgage within 7 days? No. Any better suggestions?
Did you go to court?
No.
So you paid the 1,800 arrears? And
Yeah.
you paid the payment plan?
Well, you must be mad to pay £1,800 on somebody's mortgage. Why would you pay £1,800 on somebody's mortgage? You don't own the house. How do you control that property? How do you control your interest? We've got to document something called assisted sale agreement. We're going to cover that in a little bit more detail. This is the seller. So we become his joint venture partner. Okay? So now, it gives me the right to pay the mortgage, it gives me the right to control the property, and any profits over and above the outstanding mortgage belongs to me. So if I sell this house for £155,000, the extra £30,000 is mine. And that's called assisted sale agreement. Once this is signed, no way you can pull out from the deal, even after you pay the £1,800. Okay? This document is worth a fortune. So we're going to go into detail in a minute. So that's what we did. Signed that, paid £1,800, and we put the property on the market. This time we didn't use the brilliant yellow signs. We stick it on Rightmove. So it took us 8 months to get a Rightmove account. It's bloody hard to get a Rightmove account, especially if you advertise under the deposit amount. I'll show you a trick. When you're looking in your postcode BH1 for properties for sale, do you always click sort by lowest price first or highest price first? Lowest price first. So start with £80,000, £100,000, etc. That's how the list goes. If my property is advertised in BH1 with £7,000, is it always going to be on top of the list?
Yes.
If it's always on top of the list, am I going to get more clicks? Well, we did a comparison. We ran the same property for the full asking price, £155,000, and we ran it with the deposit amount. This gave 120,000 clicks in a week, compared to 700 clicks on the full asking price. Do you think you're going to sell the property faster? So it's a very clever way of advertising property, especially on vendor term agreements. So you advertise £7,000, moves you in. I think your monthly payments was about £805. No mortgage required. Total asking price 155, and the house is yours. This gave us £250 cash flow. And bear in mind that Bob's mortgage was on a short-term repayment basis. Over a 5-year period, we always calculate 5-year period. Remember, we always lock our buyers in for minimum 5 years, so we have a nice cash flow period. Okay, if they complete early, they always have an early redemption penalty that is higher than the cash flow we're going to get. So, from this property, £20,000 cash flow. Back-end profit, another £20,000, £42,000 from a 3-bed, small ex-council house. How many of you would like that?
So we invested £1,800, we got that back from the £7,000 up front, which was on exchange of contracts. So basically it cost us nothing for the property, £42,000 profit.
And a happy family in the house. These people were living in a 2-bedroom flat. They thought they'll never be able to buy a house. They're the most grateful buyers we have, actually.
We're going to skip over this one quite quickly because we're already eating into our time quite considerably. So this is just another babysit number 3, which was very similar. It's another Bob, reluctant landlord, wanted to sell the property for full market value. Nobody was offering him full market value. He had £15,000 equity tied up in the property, and that's all he wanted. So we said, okay Bob, if we can give you the £15,000 that you've got tied up, do you have some flexibility around the timescale we deliver you the money?
Write this down.
So he said, that's very valuable information I've just given you. It can earn you hundreds of thousands of pounds. Bob, if I can give you what you're looking for, do you have some flexibility around the timescale I deliver the money? He said, I don't need the money straight away, but as long as I get the 15,000, I'll give you some flexibility. So we agreed with him that we'd pay it over the next 60 months, or at the end of 60 months. So we took control of the property using our single document, and we babysat the property, babysat the mortgage payments. And this is the profits that we made from the property.
£5,000 up front. This property was in need of work. It was rented to a tenant for quite a while, and Bob hasn't done any work to it. He didn't want to spend his £15,000 equity on doing the property up, because that wouldn't add any value. So he thought, well, the best thing is to sell it. But if he wanted to sell it, no one wanted to pay him for market value, and because of the condition of the house. So we thought, okay, we can still satisfy Bob if he gives us enough time to find a buyer, let the buyer complete, and pay him on completion. So all the terms that we agreed goes on assisted sale agreement with Bob. Okay, so we transferred there, and then we found a buyer that had actually £15,000, but we advised them, instead of paying us all the £15,000 of deposit, please spend the remaining £10,000 in doing the house up. So it increases the value. So it worked for them. They paid only £5,000 to move in. We made all that money, we paid nothing to Bob. And the beautiful thing was, we found a little key secret here. Write it down. The mortgage was with UBS, and it was only 2.25% a month. Very cheap. We sold it to the buyer, 6.25%. That's 4% margin. That creates massive cash flow, which is £480 cash flow a month, net cash flow. Also, we sold it 25% above market value, which gives us £37,000 back-end profit. After we pay Bob, we got £22,000 net, £55,000 net profits from a property that we paid full price for. How many of you would you like to pay full price and make 55 grand?
Pay full price, no mortgage required, and no upfront money. So there's a free recording of this presentation. If you want to receive that by email, please leave your details at the back, either a business card or fill in the data capture form there.
I think you have got a data capture form on your tables.
We'll be happy to send that to you so you can just review this in your own time.
It's quite advanced property structuring, deal structuring, so if you watch it again and again.
Will anybody volunteer? What is it? I have to shut him up because we run out of time otherwise. he likes to run over, and you know, we're aware that you need to get home tonight. So would anybody volunteer? What is a lemon?
Fruit.
Fruit, citrus fruit. Any other volunteers? Mesud, tell us, what is a lemon?
Lemon is a property that you don't want to own.
Why?
Usually it's a property that is upside down or so-called negative equity. That means the value of the property is less than the mortgage outstanding. Pretty much as the first babysit example we showed you, where the debt was £81,000 and the value was £75,000. So if you had to sell this property today, it will cost you money. You don't want to own a property like that. I
Can you show us
know.
on the chart what that
Well,
looks like.
Yeah, if you think of this property is worth £100,000 and the mortgage is 110, £10,000 negative equity. It's all lovely to be a landlord and own properties, but at the end of the day we want to make money from property. We don't want to have 20 or 30 properties that are negatively cash flowing or in negative equity. We want to have properties that are profitable. So a lemon is also property that is in negative cash flow, where the monthly mortgage cost, the service charge, ground rent, the total cost of that is greater than the rent you're receiving. So every month it costs you £50, £100 to service and own that property. Would you like to own a property like that? No. Doug owned a property like that, which is the next example.
Can you show us an example of a negative cash flow property?
One bedroom flat in Manchester. We're going to show you the picture in a minute. Rent £525, mortgage £545, service charge, ground rent, total cost £645 a month. Would you like to own this property? No? Well, property ownership is beautiful. Would you like to have a big portfolio of this? No?
There are thousands of these throughout the UK in city centres.
Doug, take your wallet out. £120 every month. £120 every month. £120 every month.
Oh, that was only on that one.
How would that make you feel?
Like it served a lemon. So you know, if you go to a nice restaurant and you order a nice steak, and they bring you a lemon, what do you do with that?
What does that with your six-figure income?
Empties my pockets. So let's show you an example of me a house in Manchester. Property I purchased back in the mid-2000s. In fact, it was such a good deal, I bought two from the developer. He was very generous. He gave me £12,000 cash back on that, £12,000 cash back on the other one. So I've got two properties, 2-bedroom apartments, city centre of Manchester, on the canal, and 24 grand in the bank, and I haven't spent a penny. Fantastic opportunity. Well, I wasn't the only one. There was thousands of people doing the same thing. In Cardiff Bay, in Manchester, in Birmingham, in Leeds, in Huddersfield. You've got one. Everyone else in the room knows somebody who's probably got one. Well, this is now emptying my pockets every month. And because there's so much negative equity on it, I can't sell it on the open market. So I feel like I've got a lemon. So what do we do with this?
Well, one day I was looking at the property accounts. I just noticed about 5 or 6 properties that were in negative cash flow and negative equity. So I picked up the file in 1-bedroom flat, 53 Mere House in Manchester. Look at the mortgage outstanding, 136, 750. Quickly went on Rightmove, search properties for sale. There was another 1-bedroom apartment for sale in the same block for £99,000. How much negative equity is that? 36,750. Subject to that flat was sold, but it wasn't. So it was probably more than that. So I thought, oof, this is serious. Okay, look at the cash flow. You already look at the cash flow. The cash flow is minus £120 a month. And I thought, well, we've got a Rightmove account. It's just nice and fresh. So let's try this. Let's put the property for actually 143,999 full asking price. £5,000 moves it in, £802 a month. Per month, the flat is yours. Nice luxury 1-bedroom flat in central Manchester. You don't need a mortgage, you can own it. Guess what? Somebody called, and his name was John. And he said, I've got £11,000 and I would really like to own this flat. It looks wonderful. I said, yes, it is. Well, John, why do you want to own a house? He said, I live in a rented property at the moment. I'm sick and tired of moving houses, and I'm a coach driver. So my family owns a coach company, so I'm employed by my family. So I earn quite a bit of money, but I just want somewhere close to where the bus station is, so I can I can walk to work, and I can own something instead of renting, so I can settle. So, John, okay, well, I'm asking for £5,000 deposit. He said, yeah, that's exactly how much I want to pay, although I have got more, I'd like to keep some for rainy days. So, he viewed the house with the tenant, he loved it, and he said, I'm going to go for it. So we took the £5,000 deposit. Now, we, ladies and gentlemen, move buyers into houses. We don't move tenants. Okay? Because you move a buyer into the house, if you move a tenant, who pays the service charge? The landlord. If you move a buyer, who pays the service charge and ground rent now? The buyer. Okay. If £100 of your negative cash flow is paid off, and you charge a premium rate over and above what you are paying, all of a sudden that creates £260 net cash flow. £120 negative, we turn it to 260 positive. Over a 5-year period, £15,000. That's only £20,000 profit. It's not much, is it? But hang on, it's not 20. That property, if you remember, was £40,000 in negative cash and negative equity. That is £60,000 profit. How many of you would like to help landlords that are in negative equity and make 20 grand? How many of you would you like to get paid from landlords that are negative equity to get rid of their houses? I was offered £5,000 from a lady called Diane. She owns a property in Manchester, again on the canal, for £177,000 mortgage outstanding, worth £150. So it's about £30,000 in negative equity. She offered me £5,000 to get rid of it. How many of you would like that deal? £5,000 to take somebody's house and another £5,000 deposit from a buyer. Would like that?
Yeah.
Those of you who come to our workshop, I'll offer that free of charge. I'll give you her details. You can sign the assisted sale agreement with her. All you have to do is find the buyer and vendor term agreement. Easy.
How many investors are asking for negative equity property, negative cash flow property, when you go to meetings? How many investors walk into an estate agent or a letting agent and say, oh, we've got any negative cash flowing properties, negative equity properties, that the owner would be pleased to get rid of, or even pay me to take them away from them? There are thousands. Sky Studios in London is a nice location. It's East London, near to City Airport. But the problem was that it came to, it's not a very nice looking building, but it is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom luxury flat inside there. But it came to us in some negative equity, in fact 65,000 negative. And normally you would look at that as an investor and say, oh, I'm not interested. Unless you can give me a discount, I don't want it. Well, this was 65,000 the wrong way. But we looked at it, and the mortgage is with Mortgage Express. So Roy, you'll remember Mortgage Express, same day remortgage, 1.75% above base, 2.25% for life, lifetime tracker. That's got one of those on it. So we thought, well, the mortgage payments are so cheap, we can make money out of the mortgage. So that's exactly what we did.
We took £7,000 deposit. Again, locked Barbara in for 7 years, and we said 7 years you can't go and get another lender on this property. So you're staying with us, you're staying with Mortgage Express. Mortgage Express means lots of cash flow. Took £7,000 up front, cost us nothing to acquire the property. That gives us £551 per month net cash flow after we pay Mortgage Express. Over a 5-year period, that's £33,000 cash flow. Massive, isn't it? No voids, no tenants, no service charge, and no ground rent. How great is that? Fantastic, isn't it? So, £40,000 from a £65,000 negative equity property. How many of you would like that?
That's another £100,000 deal. If you add the negative equity to the profit, it's a £100,000 deal. So we thought we'd show you a standard, straightforward purchase using a mortgage. Because Roy wants a business tonight, so we thought we'd show you a traditional purchase with a mortgage, with a twist. Which is using the strategy that I learned when I was doing mortgage broking, creative financing. So purchased a 36 Jellicoe oven from a lady called Jane. The value of the property is $160,000, and Jane has a mortgage outstanding with NatWest Bank, $24,000. Now we looked at what she wanted and what she needed.